CNN Philippines tonight. Two big-ticket bills are signed into law. How will this affect ordinary Filipinos? President Rodrigo Duterte wants a third player in the telecoms industry to be operational by March next year. And tributes continue to pour in for K-pop superstar Kim Jong-hyun, who allegedly died by suicide.
This program is presented by Bank of Commerce, an affiliate of San Miguel Corporation.
Good evening, I'm Mitzi, Borromeo. We begin with two important measures signed by President Duterte that will affect millions of Filipinos. Our senior correspondent Ina Andolong tells us about these two new laws.
First, the 3.7 trillion peso national budget for 2018. Second, the Tax Reform for Acceleration and Inclusion or TRAIN Act, which is expected to gather enough funds to support the administration's infrastructure program. Two key measures now signed into law. The national budget will support infrastructure development and free education in state universities and colleges, universal health care, free irrigation, and the maintenance of peace and order across the country. It will also fulfill the president's campaign promise of doubling the pay of soldiers and police officers. The TRAIN Act, on the other hand, is a priority measure of the Duterte administration, which wants to usher in the country's golden age of infrastructure. The measure is expected to generate 120 billion pesos in additional revenues every year. 70% of this will be allocated for the Build, Build, Build program, while the remaining 30% will be for social programs and mitigating measures to cushion the poor from the expected increases in the prices of consumer goods. The president thanked lawmakers for the swift and timely passage of the measures and also gave directives for the next tax package he wants passed.
I thank Congress again for its commitment to pass the balance by the first quarter of next year. I am directing the Department of Finance to ensure the effective implementation of Package 1 of TRAIN and to immediately submit to Congress Package 2, which deals with corporate income tax early next year, which will complement the revenues of TRAIN.
The president said he used his veto powers in the budget. This means he refused to approve specific items on it. For now, it's unclear what these are, but he says this will be mentioned in a separate veto message. But earlier, his spokesperson, Harry Roque, said these are, quote, very minor line vetoes. Roque is quick to allay concerns on how the tax measure will affect the poor, considering the increases in excise tax to be imposed on consumer goods. He said the tax law itself cushions the impact of indirect taxes through cash aid for 10 million poor households in the country. Roque is referring to the 200 peso a month cash assistance to be given to poor families next year. In 2019 and 2020, this will increase to 300 pesos. The question is this enough?
I believe so, because as I read out the computation, many of the new excise taxes would not really amount to much because really the amount of taxes that you pay is dependent on your consumption as well. And if you are marginalized, the consumption is very low.
With the TRAIN now a law, those earning less than 250,000 pesos annually no longer need to pay any income tax. There will also be reductions in the taxes of those earning more. Budget Secretary Ben Diokno says workers should already see these changes in their first paycheck of 2018. Ina Andolong, CNN Philippines.
Now let's look at how the newly signed tax reform law will affect ordinary Filipinos in everyday life. Our Claire Hiao has this story.
Romeo Bautista drives this jeepney from 4 in the morning until 11 at night. Along with other drivers, he lines up for passengers at this terminal in Mandaluyong. All that work earns him roughly 2,500 pesos a day. With his fuel costing 800 pesos and his boundary another 700, Bautista takes home only 1,000 pesos for himself and his family. Starting next year, however, that budget could get even smaller. Under the new tax reform law, taxes on fuel will go up across the board. For Bautista, who uses diesel, that will add more than 60 pesos to his daily expenses.
63 to 64, ganun. Madadagdagan din ako. Kahit pa paano, may maapektuhan din kami pa kasi sa kalahating kilong bigas ang mabibili nun eh.
Bautista, however, supports the fuel tax, as long as the government adjusts fares and distributes cash transfers as promised.
Kasi yung kasing train, para sa akin okay lang basta nakakatulong mas marami sa nakakarami. Kung sa amin, basta meron kaming subsidy na bigay ng gobyerno, okay lang sa akin. Wala namang problema doon. Suportado ko si Duterte.
He's also all for the increase in sugar tax. By next year, prices of sugary drinks will go up 6 to 12 pesos a liter. Bautista and his wife Arlene used to take energy drinks to get them through work. Now they're trying to kick the habit after the drinks made them sick.
Sabi kasi nila, pampatanggal ng puyat, pampa-energy. Hindi ka daw antukin, pero hindi naman umubra sa akin. Nagka-UTI lang ako.
The Bautista couple say the sugar tax will encourage people like them to be more healthy.
Tulad ng sigarilyo, di ba, may tinaasan ng tax niyan. Okay lang yun, kasama nagbibisyo yan, para matanggal din nila. Ganon din ang soft drinks, bisyo lang din yan eh.
But the biggest benefit of the tax reform law will be lower income taxes for most Filipinos. Starting next year, all income below 250,000 pesos will be free from taxes. 13th month pay and bonuses below 90,000 pesos will be exempt as well. As for middle-income earners, their tax rate will be slashed from 32% to 20 to 25%. Employees we talk to say they're willing to pay more for consumer goods if it means getting to take home more money from their paycheck.
Tanggalin na lang yung tax kasi hindi naman necessity yung sa crude eh. Pwede naman mag-transpo lang eh. Mas maganda pa rin yung tax baba.
Siguro sa akin, i-save ko siya. Kumbaga, itatabi ko, mag-open ako ng mga bank account ko.
As the new law puts more money in their pockets, they say they can now save and spend for their family's needs. Claire Yao, CNN Philippines.
Tropical depression Urduha has exited the country, but the number of casualties it has left continues to rise. Authorities say at least 41 people are confirmed dead, 45 missing, and 67 injured in the wake of the storm. Urduha carried heavy rains and strong winds and battered eastern Visayas and parts of western Visayas with landslides and floods. Authorities are validating the figures of the dead and missing, who are mostly from Biliran Island, which bore the brunt of landslides.
Hindi lamang po kasi body counts ang ginagawa natin dito. We are identifying the cause of death na kailangan po talagang directly ma-attribute po natin to sa disaster.
We're keeping an eye on a low-pressure area east of Mindanao. Weather Bureau Pagasa says this LPA is expected to enter the country tomorrow. It will be named Vinta once it develops into a tropical cyclone. Forecasters see this weather disturbance to track more or less the same path as Tropical Depression Urduha, so it will likely affect parts of the Visayas and Mindanao. Authorities say it could be a rainy Christmas in those regions. So far, remnants of the Tropical Depression Urduha are bringing scattered rain showers and thunderstorms to Palawan. The tail end of a cold front, meanwhile, is affecting the eastern section of northern and central Luzon, particularly the provinces of Cagayan, Isabela, and Aurora. The Ilocos region, the Cordilleras, the rest of Cagayan Valley, and of central Luzon, as well as Metro Manila, will continue to have light rains and cooler temperatures because of the northeast monsoon. Elsewhere, skies will be partly cloudy to cloudy with isolated rain showers or thunderstorms. More local news later in the show. Here are some top stories from around the world. Authorities in the United States say the Amtrak train that derailed Monday in Washington state was traveling 128 kilometers per hour in a 48 kilometer per hour zone. At least 3 people were killed and more than 100 others were injured in the accident. The train was making its first trip from Seattle to Portland when it ran off the track. 13 of its 14 cars spilled off an interstate overpass onto rush hour traffic. Officials say the 3 deaths were inside the train. The U.S. National Transportation Safety Board has begun its investigation. The White House says the United States believes North Korea was behind the WannaCry cyber attack earlier this year. In a Wall Street Journal op-ed, White House Homeland Security Advisor Tom Bossert said the U.S. has evidence for the claim and that the United Kingdom and Microsoft reached similar conclusions in their analysis of the attack. The massive cyber attack affected computers all over the world in May. The White House is also calling on the private sector to do more to prevent such incidents. And a couple of upgrades make their way to Facebook. The social networking site has added a mute button. It lets you mute friends, pages, and groups for 30 days, giving users more control over what they see. Muted friends, pages, and groups will not be notified about the action. The move comes after Facebook published a blog post asking whether spending time on social media is bad. Former Facebook employees earlier criticized the site for its negative effect on mental health. We check the situation at bus terminals and at the airport as these prepare for the Christmas rush. And how soon can we expect better, faster internet service in the country with the entry of a third new player? Find out when Newsroom returns. Good evening to all of you joining us here on Facebook Live. Coming up for you in the next segment of Newsroom, the holiday rush is upon us. 6 more days to go until Christmas, and we all feel, if you live in Metro Manila, you're probably feeling the traffic and the craziness out on the roads. We check the situation in bus terminals and airports, so stay tuned for details on that. We also have business news for you, so many more stories coming your way, and later on, entertainment news. We want to thank all of you who have been sending in greetings here on Facebook Live from around the world, and we are getting reactions to our top story tonight, which is the 2 new laws that have been signed. So we'll read some of those tonight. Mers Tulin says hello from Hong Kong. Marife Hatamosa is watching from Perth, Australia. Christine Lavarias from Davao City. Jojo Noble watching in Washington, D.C. Oscar Osias in Canada. Bong Herrera in Kuwait. Catherine Gomez watching in Taiwan. Eddie Woznicki III in the USA. We also have Oscar Osias watching from Toronto, Canada. Catherine Gomez is saying Merry Christmas from Taiwan. We also have Kiko Valerio, who says he's watching from the middle of nowhere inside the Arabian desert. Well, good evening to you and keep safe there. Abby Esteban Usman says she's an avid follower watching from Dubai. Marlon Panares says Merry Christmas. I can say the tax reform bill has both advantages and drawbacks for Filipinos. We also have Josh Dave David, who says, I agree with the new tax reform law. Josh is watching from Bergen in Norway. Byron Messina is watching from Geneva, Switzerland, and says, there are 3 phrases that sum up Christmas: peace on earth, goodwill to men, and batteries not included. So make sure you include those in your gifts, especially to kids. Ayla Sakal is watching from Jordan. We also have Marlon Panares, who says, I believe maraming magagandang maidudulot ang tax reform law para sa ordinaryong Pilipino. More stories coming your way. Stay with us until the end of the show. You're back in the newsroom on CNN Philippines. Passengers heading home to the provinces for Christmas have started arriving at bus terminals in Cubao, Quezon City. Around 5,000 passengers are expected at the 2 terminals daily starting Thursday. Bus operators say tickets are selling out fast. Some thought of avoiding the Christmas rush by booking early, only to be left stranded as trips were canceled because of tropical depression or Duha.
Siksika na yung tao, fully book na nga yung ticket, kaya kumuha ako ng maaga. Kasi nung 17 pa sana. Tapos, di ba, na-stranded. Kaya ngayon na yung may biyahe.
The Ninoy Aquino International Airport is also feeling the holiday rush. We're seeing thicker crowds than usual. Our AC Nichols reports from the NAIA.
With Christmas just a few days away, airport terminals are more crowded than usual. Traffic was at a crawl at the drop-off area of NAIA's Terminal 3. Passengers wait in long lines by the gates, but they say movement is faster than expected.
Sakto lang, sakto lang.
Hindi naman masyadong matagal yung hintay.
No.
Alright.
Wala pa nga akong 5 minutes dito.
Check-in counters for certain airlines are more crowded than others. Passengers complain about having to wait at least 20 minutes just to drop off their luggage.
Mas maganda yung mas marami na yung counter kasi dati-rati ganito pa din naman, wala namang nadagdag na counter, kaya mas lalong humaba yung pila.
Some 2 million passengers are expected to pass through Manila airports during the Christmas holiday rush, a 10% increase from last year's number. Manila International Airport Authority General Manager Ed Monreal says the crowds also depend on the time of the flight. Peak hours are from 10 a.m. to 12 noon, then again at 4 to 6 p.m. During these hours, when more flights are scheduled, longer lines are also expected at immigration counters. Monreal says airlines are expected to strictly operate on time, make sure planes are well maintained to avoid sudden delays due to technical problems, and their check-in counters should be fully manned.
But it's inevitable that during actual operations, it's a common knowledge that there was some 1 or 2 delays depending on the issues like technical problem. Hindi tila maalis yun.
Authorities remind passengers not to bring prohibited items like nail cutters, knives, and bullets to avoid delays in processing. But the best way to survive the holiday rush, come early or at least 2 to 3 hours before your flight. AC Nichols, CNN Philippines.
President Duterte wants a third player in the telecoms industry to be operational by March 2018. Mr. Duterte issued the necessary directives to the Department of Information and Communications Technology and the National Telecommunications Commission to make this happen. The move comes a month after Duterte's bilateral talks with Chinese Premier Li Keqiang in November, when he invited China to be the country's third telecom player. Presidential spokesman Harry Roque explains.
It is being rushed because we need desperately to have better telecoms in this country.
President Duterte has also warned the judiciary against placing temporary restraining orders or injunctions to delay or stop the entry of the third player. San Miguel Brewery gets the green light from its bondholders to carry out amendments to terms in their agreements concerning the parent company's reorganization. San Miguel Corporation said the holders of its Series C, E, and F bonds agreed to align the change of control provisions in their trust agreements. The move guarantees that these agreements remain consistent with their original intended purpose, which is for San Miguel Brewery to remain under the effective control of San Miguel Corporation while it implements reorganization. The reorganization involves the grouping of SMC's food and beverage businesses under one entity. Advocates are pushing for better mental health services here in the country. A joint initiative by the Health Department and 3 other stakeholders reveals schizophrenia is a serious problem in the country. How will an impending law on mental health protect the rights of people living with mental illness? Watch this.
One time talaga, naalala ko nung parang lack of sleep talaga. Bilang nagulat ako na sudden na hindi ako makatulog talaga dahil sa nangyari yung first failure at yung first rejection, which is one of the causes nung kakaibang naramdaman ko nung time na yun. Kasi yung most common signs ng schizophrenia, hallucination at delusion po. May mga times na kuya may inisip ako isang bagay, may magre-respond sa environment ko, yung parang boses ng ibang tao na sa paligid ko. Halimbawa, inisip ko, kaya nag-gutom ako. Tapos bigla may respond sa paligid ko, kumain ka na, ganyan, parang ganyan. Pero sa totoo lang, sa utak ko lang yun. Inisip ko one time na, baka kausap ko si God, parang ganun.
Hindi ko naisip kasi nga, mula pagkabataan siya, tahimik siya. At saka, masyadong mahiyain. So I took it as dahil lang sa pagiging mahiyain niya. At saka kontento siya dito lang sa bahay. Hindi ko inisip na symptoms ng something may problema.
The understanding of schizo is that is split. But it's not a split personality, more of a split in their way of thinking. It's more of a thought disorder. Schizophrenia is not yung sinasabi nila sa probinsya na may topa, may sinapian. Yun ang pagkakaintindi nila sa behavior ng schizophrenia. And that's why, ang nangyayari dun sa rural areas, imbis na dalhin sa doktor, dinadala muna sa albularyo. There are medications available for those suffering from schizophrenia. The new injectables that we have in the market, we want to make it available to greater number of people because it has significantly improved quality of life. Less side effects, better cognitive functions, they can live their life, they can start a new job.
Sana yung mga conditions na pareho na sa kanya, huwag mag-lose ng hope kasi with the breakthrough sa medicine ngayon, at saka kailangan lang talaga ng support ng family, friends. Huwag silang mahiya na magtanong para maayos ka agad.
Catch the story of the Filipino tonight at 9:30, only here on CNN Philippines. Still ahead, the K-pop community mourns the death of Chinese lead singer Kim Jong-hyun. And there's a new craze in town. Time to learn the Divisoria Dance Challenge. Keep it here on Newsroom. We'll be right back. Joining us here on Facebook Live. If you saw that teaser, you know the dance craze that's out there now. This is what's coming up next on Facebook Live. All of you now have to learn the Divisoria Dance Challenge. And I'm trying to get the people over here to dance. Macy, halika na. We have a very good dancer here. Macy. She's shy. Kaya mo gawin, Macy. This is our beautiful floor director, Macy Montalban. Kaya mo gawin yung Divisoria Dance Challenge. Sample lang, konting.
Pasok.
Yun yung konting sample. So mamaya, konti, pwede pa.
Mamaya, ma'am.
Ibang dance lang, anong favorite
Hindi
dance?
na mamaya.
Magaling tong...
Pasok,
Magaling siyang sumayaw at kumanta. Sige, thank you, Macy. So for those of you who want to learn it, we might show that next time for the holidays. And we want to thank you all for all your greetings coming in here on Facebook Live. We want to say hello to Alfonso Grafe watching in Canada, Patrick Rilneda watching in Siargao, Henry Sevilla in Thailand, Richard Lactawen watching in Hawaii, Luz McCannis watching in Florida, Mikel Taglokot watching in Kuwait, Romel Horda watching in Finland, Arnel de los Reyes watching in Jeddah, and Elise Rufino watching in Italy. We also have Jensen Hormillosa watching from San Pedro Laguna, Benson Santa Ana reacting to our story earlier saying that it's not about bringing in a third telco player, it's about getting rid of the various red tapes that's driving the costs of our ISPs too. We also have more reactions on the two new laws signed today. Eufrasia Bilera is watching from Camiguin Island. Nad Ngoho says, okay, at least the Philippines has been it may be busy, but at least it's removed from the list of the worst airports. We also have Cam Mega Creeps watching from Midsayap, North Cotabato. Bong Herrera says we'll just watch and see the result of the newly signed tax reform bill. Whether it's for the good of ordinary people, petroleum products prices will increase, as well as public transport fares and commodities that directly affect the masses. Pearl Corral de Henderson is watching from Colorado, and also Kevin Mahoney's watching from Little in Ireland. Edmond Labuguen watching from Korea. Abby Esteban Usman watching from Dubai. Thanks for all your greetings. Remember, for more stories, you can catch that on cnnphilippines.com. And maybe for more dances from Macy, check that out also. It's her birthday also coming up. Happy birthday, Macy. Stay tuned for more stories. Welcome back. 2 months since the end of the Marawi siege, and as many Filipinos celebrate this holiday season, Maranao struggle to get back on their feet after losing everything. This week on Profiles, we bring you the stories that must be told, life after the war, making ends meet in temporary homes, and the challenging task of rebuilding the city. So ito ang iilan po kayo? So 5 ang anak nyo?
Tapos yung kapatid ko na isa, mother-in-law ko, at saka yung isa na apo niya, bali ilan kami, mga 10 dito.
So dito kayo natutulog?
Natutulog na ano lang yan, plastic mat lang nakalagay.
The immediate need is really to construct the temporary shelters for the internally displaced persons.
For me, the very important aspect for rehabilitation is rebuilding first the social relationship. Otherwise, this social relationship, if it is not met, whatever development that you'll put in Marawi, I believe it will fail.
Catch the first part of our special presentation, Heartbreak and Homecoming in Marawi, on Profiles tomorrow night at 9:30, only here on CNN Philippines. Tributes pour in for K-pop superstar Kim Jong-hyun. The lead singer of boy band SHINee took his life Monday. Roses for Jong-hyun, that's the hashtag fans use to honor the singer. Other Korean superstars and celebrities also paid tribute to Jong-hyun with their best memories of him. In his note, Jong-hyun says, depression consumed him. The body of the singer was discovered inside a studio apartment in the Gangnam district of Seoul. He was 27 years old. The latest film from a galaxy far, far away is one with a force in the local box office. The local distributor of Star Wars The Last Jedi says the film dominated cinemas during its opening weekend. The 8th movie from the series grossed over 145 million pesos in its first 5 days. If you haven't seen it, you can still catch Star Wars The Last Jedi in local cinemas. And before we go, Divisoria is the shopping mecca for cheap finds. That's especially true this Christmas season when most of us are on the lookout for best gift deals. Now, someone toyed with the idea and gave it some dance moves. Here's a look at the newest dance craze taking social media by storm. It's called the Divisoria Dance Challenge. Check this out.
1, 2, 3, pasok mga supit, presyong dinisola, 10, 20, 30 at iba pa. Pasok mga supit, presyong dinisola, 10, 20, 30 at iba pa.
I'm going to have to practice those moves. And that's the newsroom for you this evening. I'm Mitzi Borromeo. Thank you for watching. Good night.